Imagine that you decide to move out of your country and live abroad, for good or for a while. Then you publicly come out and say that your country is doing something wrong and you don't like it. You don't even need to say that. You make a post in your social media or make a repost of something that another person said or wrote in social media, or simply like someone's message, someone's post. Based on your saying, your country's attorney general opens up a criminal investigation against you. You get convicted remotely because you're not in the country and you do not defend yourself, you get convicted. And at the very same moment, property that you own, house, apartments, dogs, bank accounts, your car, furniture inside your house, gets confiscated by the government. Just like that. The the punishment catches up with you anywhere you are. Just like that. Absurd? You say it's impossible? Well, for us Russians, it's not just possible, it's the reality now. Solidified by new federal law that's just about to get approved. Howdy, howdy, everyone. Welcome to Inside Russia, where I, Konstantin, explain things about Russia, what's going on in Russia these days. This is where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. As usual, no propaganda, BS or lies here. Only truth, common sense and logic, and some emotions too, because I am a human being after all. You see, my goal of doing these daily streams is, all work that I do on YouTube, keeping you informed of what's happening inside Russia. My goal is informing you of what's happening. Since the start of the war, I made numerous attempts to reach out to different Russians inside Russia to inform them. My opinion, knowledge that I possess, and so forth. I failed almost every time. They simply don't want to listen to facts, ask questions, or simply think critically. They refuse for different reasons. On top of that, I realized that currently, at this minute, at any time, Russians inside Russia have access to dozens of excellent independent media broadcasting from abroad. Magnificent work they do. Teams of hundreds professional reporters doing great job. There's no need for me to compete with all of them. But I also realized what I can do well and effective is to inform people who live outside Russia and don't know much about the country. I can show it in an unbiased, honest way, the way I see things inside Russia. And I find it extremely important. I want to show Russia's mistakes so everyone learns about them. And everyone will not make their own mistakes. They will just learn from Russia's mistakes. I also want to shed light on certain things in what's going on in Russia in country's way, so to speak, so others see them well and make educated opinions on what to do about Russia, with Russia, or around Russia, if you know what I mean. And I try to organize live streams and videos in a way where I give you my analysis based on facts. Sometimes I give my subjective opinions. Well, they're also based on facts, but it's more of emotions and subjectivity involved. But today it's not the case. Today it's just facts, numbers, figures, and criminal code articles. So, Russian government is about to approve a new bill on confiscating property of Russian citizens residing abroad. It passed the second hearing in the parliament today, and it will become a new law in just few days. This new law will give Russian government an unprecedented power over the citizens. Like it already doesn't have enough power. Government officials will confiscate property of citizens. At least they will have an opportunity to confiscate and the right to do so. Let's take a closer look what's going on. The right to do so. Russian Parliament's Committee on State Construction and Legislation approved a bill on confiscation of property for fakes. It's been a long day. I need some more tea. Confiscation of property for spreading fakes about the Russian armed forces, Russian army, and publicly calling for activities directed against the security of the state. They passed it in the second reading or hearing. Activities directed against the security. Okay. There's something up with my mic, from what I understand. Interesting. So, the bill was submitted to the Parliament on January 22nd, 2024. On the same day, it was approved by the Committee on State Construction and Legislation. In the first reading, the bill was passed on January 24th. What's alarming is the speed they are doing this with. It's absolutely incredible. This speed only exists for the laws that are pushed from the very top. Because there are examples when bills in the Russian parliament get approved for years. Okay, these ones, just under a week. The new law expands the list of crimes to which Article 104.1 of the Criminal Code on confiscation of properties can be applied. So, in other words, in simple English, there is already an article that allows authorities to confiscate private property of citizens. This particular new adoption is expanding that list. The senators proposed to expand Article 104.1 with the possibility to confiscate property from those found guilty of publicly spreading deliberately false information about the use of the armed forces of Russia, and that's already existing Article 207.3 of the Criminal Code, and calling for activities directed against the security of the state. That's already another article, 280.4 of the Criminal Code. For, in Russia they call it the selfish motives, basically for, with the goal to earn money, to enrich themselves. You see what's going on? There are two articles already exist that punish Russian citizens for doing certain things. For example, if you say something that goes against what Ministry of Defense says about Russian army or its actions, then you fall under a subject under a certain criminal article, 207.3 of the Criminal Code, and you face up to 15 years in prison. But that's just prison time, okay? And there's another article, 280.4. If you do activities directed against the security of the state, you fall a subject of this article, and that's also a very lengthy prison term. What they're doing now is they including these articles into the list of into another article, allowing to, if you're convicted, to confiscate your stuff. everything you own. The courts will also have the right to deprive those convicted of honorary titles and state awards under articles on spreading fakes about the army, on public calls for action against the security of the state, on discrediting, calling for the sanctions, rehabilitation of Nazism, extremist activities, and actions aimed with the goal of violating integrity of Russia. That's pretty bad words we hear, integrity of Russia. Holy moly. Integrity of Russia, for goodness sake, I did not hear this before. Integrity of Russia. I think it's up to us Russians to keep the integrity of Russia, and it's our actions or our will or things like that, but I guess not. The parliament speaker, Vyacheslav Volodin, started talking about the confiscation of the property of people about a year ago. And I mentioned that in my streams quite a few times. Let me quote Vyacheslav Volodin. The scoundrels who left the country and live comfortably thanks to our country. While abroad, they rent out their Russian real estate, continue to make money at the expense of Russian citizens. At the same time, they allow themselves to publicly pour dirt on Russia, insult our soldiers and officers. They feel their impunity. And I think he meant to say immunity, not impunity. Believing that justice cannot reach them. He actually said that quite a few times. He said it in front of a Russian parliament about a year ago. He wrote it in his Telegram channel, things like that. And in January 2024, he moved from talking to meaning business. The bill on confiscation of property was introduced, and 2 days later it was already adopted in the first hearing. Again, this speed is speed of lightning. The bill was developed by state Russian parliament deputies from the United Russia political party, of course. And it was approved by but 3 deputies, senators of the Russian parliament in the first reading. It was supported by almost all. Well, the speaker, Vyacheslav Volodin, said that approval of the bill would affect the re-election of the senators. That thing that I don't understand completely, okay, was my understanding that the Russian senators are elected by Russian people. But Vyacheslav Volodin states otherwise. He says that depending on how they vote, he warned them. Depending on how they were going to vote, their election would depend on that. In Russia, it does not stir water, does not create a storm, nothing like that. It just goes unnoticed. Folks, please explain me why. Now, 7 days later, well, less than 7 days later. What is this? 5 days later. And this is a second hearing. And the second hearing, no changes. Everyone approves. Everyone took Volodin's words seriously. There will be a third hearing, and this bill will be sent to Vladimir Putin. He'll sign it. New federal law. Now, they'll be able to take away money, valuables, and other properties obtained as a result of committing crimes from those convicted of spreading fakes about the Russian army, as well as from those who call for desertion, defection to the side of the armed forces, surrender of military personnel. Nice. The authorities will receive the right and ability to confiscate property from those found guilty of publicly disseminating deliberately false information about the use of Russian armed forces. Folks, what I love here is the activities against the security of the state. What is that exactly? What kind of activities are meant there? You see, those activities are not defined in the law. Those activities will be decided by the prosecution and by courts. Again, I don't understand how in Russia people are taking it so easily, you know. You see, the changes in Russia, they don't happen overnight. They happen in small increments, step by step, small step by small step, tiny step by tiny step. You might know this concept as boiling the frog. When you all of a sudden wake up, look around you, and you say, wow, how did we get here? What the fudge is going on? But now you look back and you don't see one big step. You see a myriad of small, tiny steps that were being made over a very long time. And in Russia, that very long time is about 11 years. So it's incredible. We are at the point where things are not looking good for Russian citizens at all. And what's even worse, we're at the point where I don't see how they're gonna turn back. Only a huge, big change needed, sudden change, like what happened to the USSR, but usually that's called revolution. And revolutions are not usually good for societies. There's a lot of blood. You know, I heard Russians say a lot, and I mean a lot. Russian people, when you confront them, they tell you this. What can I do? And then they sigh. What can I do? You know, things like that. And then the second thing they say, they'll never do that. They'll never do that. Well, this is horrible. But you know what? Of course they'll never do that. Oh, that guy said that. You know what? Don't listen to him. He's crazy. Vyacheslav Volodin said, oh, he's a speaker of the parliament. Oh, don't listen to him. He doesn't mean that. Okay? And then it turns out that the Russian government officials mean every single word they say. Vyacheslav Volodin kind of threw the idea up in the air 1 year ago. I think it was late November of 2023. No, 2022. I remember we were just getting started with the Tashkent Breakfast Club, and he said this phrase that we're going to confiscate property from those who left Russia. And I remember that it stirred so much. I came to have breakfast at the Breakfast Club, and people were absolutely horrified. That's all they were talking about. Do you think he means it? Do you think it's possible? Do you think... Well, obviously he meant that. But in Russia, people were quiet. They said, well, he'll never do that. He'll never do... Oh, come on, he'll never do that. He's proposing that law? He'll never do that. Invading Ukraine? Are you crazy? They'll never do that. Why would they do anything like that? They'll never do that. That's too much. I have so many examples of they'll never do that. And actually, they've been doing it. Every single word. This is horrible, okay? This is horrible, but this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And this is why I'm saying that. They're passing this law for two reasons. First reason is revenge. And I think a lot of personal feelings and emotions involved of top senators. You see, these are people that exercise the biggest power in Russia. Vladimir Putin, and I call him his minions, and the top of the vertical of power, and they control everyone. All of a sudden, there's a certain number of people, and quite large number, according to different experts, from 1 to 2, 3 million people, simply get up and leave Russia. And once they cross the border, they're not under their control anymore. They are gone. They live free. They make their own choices. They are free to speak anything they want to about Russia. And Russian senators, they hate that. They hate losing control over Russian citizens. They absolutely despise the fact that are Russian citizens out there who can make their own choices, who can speak freely, okay? And all they're doing is they're trying to get to us. They're trying to take out revenge in any possible way. And this is one of the ways. They can actually open a criminal investigation on us and convict us of a crime that we do not commit. And we'll be convicted in Russia, but we will not be serving because we're in Georgia, in the USA, in the UK, in Uzbekistan, anywhere. Now, the next step, and that's driving them crazy, okay, that we're still not serving time. The next step, they say, you know what, we're gonna get to you anyway. We're gonna steal everything that you own, everything that you have worked so hard for all your life, all your property, all your real estate, cars, money in the bank accounts, computers, your cell phone, your pillow, your blanket, everything will be ours. And they can do that. And this is their way of making revenge on us. And there's another way. They are also doing it to lay foundation for extending the control over Russians, even to greater extent. Let me explain. This is us, the ones who live outside Russia. They can take any person and convict that person of being the threat to the national security in one way or another. The reason can be anything. You use Facebook and just two simple ones. You use Facebook and Instagram. Oh, those are extremist organizations. They are forbidden, banned in Russia. If you use them in Russia, you get prison term. If you use them outside Russia, therefore, you are committing crime. You buy their services. You pay them money. Therefore, you are doing actions that are a threat, the risk to the security and integrity of the Russian state. Just like that. They can do that, yes. Anything, any reason. So, what's the next step? Logical step. Imagine that in a year, in 6 months, in 2 years, a deputy comes out in the Russian state parliament and says, folks, there is unfairness that needs to be eliminated. Things gotta be made fair. Look, we have a law that allows us to confiscate property of those who are outside Russia and spreading fakes and a risk to national security. Well, how come is that those who commit the same crimes and are also the risk to the security of Russian Federation, but sitting inside Russia are in better position. We cannot confiscate their property. That is unfair. And that needs to change. And everyone will look and say, well, this is unfair. Of course. The rules are rules for everyone, if you're outside or inside Russia. And then they will extend this law to everyone who is inside Russia, who will be committing the so-called crime of spreading the fakes, simply saying their opinions about Russian armed forces. That's committing crime these days. And that's it. They go to prison and everything will be confiscated from them. Okay? So Russian government wants to seed fear in the minds of Russian people. That's the second reason. They are seeding fear like son of a gun by this law. They are doing it without stopping. They are so brutal in seeding fear. It's actually quite hard to believe. And again, this is the beginning. This is just step number one. First, it's us who reside outside Russia. Then it'll be this law will be extended to those who reside inside Russia. Then they will say, look, you owe money to Russian state, Russian government. For example, you haven't paid your utility bills in time. Well, that is the threat to national security, because we're surrounded by the enemies, and every person who somehow takes away from financial power of Russia, working for the enemy. Therefore, they will extend this law to those who don't pay utilities in time or who fall behind. And then they can extend it to commercial bank loans, personal loans, credit card payments. And then they can extend it for just about everything else. And this is first step on the road to slavery. It's really hard to actually say that Russians are enslaved now. In the way they are, but they enjoy a certain degree of freedom. But I see the path being built right in front of our noses that will lead people into real slavery. Slavery, on paper, they'll be free, but if they look at the wrong way, if they look at the wrong direction, just look, not say, they could be a subject of losing everything and becoming and getting in prison. On top of that, this digitalization of everything. They will be watched 24/7. They will be heard. They will be, the files will be created, and everything where they go to, who they speak to, what they do will be documented and kept in the files. So the digitalization will be used as a tool to solidify slavery. And that's going to be called, I actually don't know how it's going to be called. Not slavery, that's for sure. But it's going to be called something. But the reality, it'll be slavery. So the first step has been taken. Now, I can tell you that no one outside Russia, none of us feel safe, secured. We understand that if we have something left in Russia, we might lose it at any day. And that's not a good feeling. Because, you work so hard for things. You work so hard, you save money, you invest, you work 2 jobs, you just to buy a house, apartment, rent it out, create second income for you. And then the state comes in and says, well, you know what? You're the enemy of the state. You are a risk to Russian state security. And they just simply confiscate. This is incredible. Anyway, none of us feel safe and secure here. And it doesn't even matter like if it's Uzbekistan or not. Anywhere, I guess. We have definitely discussed it in the Breakfast Club. And I started with this stream saying that I see my goal of informing you of what's happening in Russia. So folks know Please, no. Be informed of what is happening in Russia. And guess what? Don't make our mistakes. Learn, learn from our mistakes. Don't make mistakes like that in your homes, in your countries, because it's just plain and simple. It's terrible. These mistakes, if you make them, they will lead you to a total dictatorship, and your lives will be ruined. Thank you so very much. It's been my message for today. I hope you found it interesting. I would like to continue in the live stream chat. It would be fantastic to hear your opinions and answer your questions. Thank you. Answer your questions. It's pretty complicated stuff, you know. I hope I explained it in simple words. I tried. Folks, before I jump into the questions, you know, what really bothers me, what really upsets me, and I don't understand why no one is seeing what I'm seeing. Why no one understands that it's not just one bill. It's not just, you know, one new law. Okay, it's a draconian law, but that's not one. This is a foundation for a new house that they're building. And they're not seeing it in Russia. I talk to people, and it's as if I was talking to, I don't know, not Russians, people who have no clue about Russia. They are mostly concerned with their lives. They're concerned with what's going on around them, how to provide, how to buy food, how to, you know. And then when I tell them, aren't you afraid that this and this will happen? They will look at me like I'm crazy and they say, oh, come on, they'll never do that. Yeah, they'll never do that. Hello, everyone. If you're here for the first time, this is the best community because it has the best mods that keep it clean and pleasant. They are Lorna, Mami K, Bob S, Harry Potter, and Amir Fazad. And this community is the best because it has the best members. The usual suspects such as Dirk, Airborne Snail, Paleoflex, Blackhead, Jodes Rames, Kevin Baker, Jesteri, Jeffrey S, Magnus, Life, Anonymous, Liz Mailer, Great Southernland, Howdy Howdy, Roy Cousins, and everyone else. Thank you, friends, for coming back. If you want me to see what you have to say, please put it in all caps and put inside Russia after that sign so it appears in large orange box. I see it much clearer and easier. Thank you. Just like Baker Stock did. Thank you, friend. Multi-Daki, good Abend. When I was in school, I learned in history lessons, when you want to reach a great goal, you must make small steps, one after another. And this is called salami tactic. Salami tactic. Thank you, friend. And this is what it is. That's exactly what they're doing. They are trying to, well, they're doing very successful salami tactic to Russia, and they wanted to do a blitzkrieg to Ukraine, but they failed. Mr. Kaliskian, as usual, from the Windy City. Jonah Bayer from Liverpool. Pamela J currently not buffering. That's good. That's good. Sound is weird. Liverpool doesn't sound like it. Pamela J currently not buffering. That's good. That's good. It doesn't sound like it's. I don't know. Oh, folks, I don't know what to tell you. It's upsetting. Something goes wrong every single time, and I don't know what it is. Gregory Stevens, thank you for saying that. So if you leave Russia, sell everything. My friend, this is very true, but this is naive. How to tell you this? Well, imagine that you must leave your country in 36 hours. My story, 36 hours. How do you sell everything? What do you do? Where do you run to? My case, I dedicated one day to giving power of attorney to my wife, to giving special permissions to sell my property, cars, and things like that. I had to go to notary places and stuff like that, and still it was not enough. It is incredibly complicated. I'm blessed to have big family and people who helping me out, not just the family but the friends. I have many resources disposable in my hands. I have good friends at previous job. I trust them with money. I rely on them in some things. And even for me, it was incredibly difficult. If you're alone, if you don't have that many friends, if you don't have support, it's incredibly difficult. To sell things, you must travel back to Russia. And every time you take a trip to Russia, it's a gamble, basically. Okay? I know people who did not return from Russia. And I know of quite a few people who returned safely. But it's a gamble. So it's not that easy. Of course, it's easy to say, sell everything. But trust me, it's not that easy. Andrew from South Africa, howdy howdy. Erinka, Faith Russard, Veronica, howdy. Paula W, Michael Martineau, howdy. Mind Games, Constantine, Nige. I hope you're writing that they're doing the mind games, not me. I'm not doing mind games. I'm trying to uncover the mind games. Good evening from Scotland. Theodore, howdy. Crusader Damien, hello, hello. RW, thank you so much, friend. Well explained. We'll send a feather pillow and if Putin takes yours. Thank you so much. It's bad that these things happen in Russia. Disturbing that some of them are also happening in the West. That is disturbing because if the West falls, then there's no hope. From now on, I'll be talking less of what I have left in Russia. There's little, not much, but there's something there. So it just gets crazy and crazier, folks. This it's trying to find the right word. It's not crazy, it's very strange to see it happening in front of your eyes. Like everything is falling apart. Like you see it in a cafe and right in front of you, the apartment block, a huge building where you live, there's earthquake and it's all of a sudden starts, cracks go up and down and it starts falling apart. That's how I'm feeling. Jeffrey S. People, before they leave Russia, they should trade their car in for a Lada and fill it with dog poop. Um, you know what, Jeffrey? It's gonna be one expensive uh, load of crap. I long time ago, I bought a brand new Mercedes Benz, the best car I ever owned. I took out a loan, and I was paying the loan for 5 years. I remember how much I paid for my Mercedes: 1,600,000 rubles. Right now, a Lada costs 2,300,000 rubles. Well, Lada isn't that definitely is not a Mercedes. Far from it. Okay, but it's costs so much more now. The thing is, the salaries they did not go up a bit since I took out that loan. People still make the same 14 years later in rubles. American dollar, of course, the rate is different, but in rubles they make the same. They make rubles, they pay with rubles. Okay, so just to let you understand, that will be a very expensive load of crap. Debbie Bonnets, thank you so much. I'm always happy to watch your streams. Debbie, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Uh, Money is very appreciated, but the words are absolutely priceless. They have wings grow behind my back. For some reason, I'm struggling speaking straight today. No, I did not drink anything. I don't drink at all. I slept enough. It's very strange. One of those days. Gary Black, thank you so much. Will they go after family members if they cannot get those rats who are out of the country? For example, parents, brothers, sisters. Uh, I wish I could tell you, and they'll never do that, but they have said that. They've said, Ramzan Kadyrov said that his siloviki, the police, the KGB, they need to start going after those who are direct family members of people committed crime, and if criminals cannot be found, so they need to take father or brother, kill them. uh, he said that. I mean, I'm not taking any words out of a song. He said that, and that's not comforting, and it's not pleasant for us to hear. Okay. So you are somewhere spot on. Not only they, and then again, there are plenty of people in Russia who say, "Well, they'll never do that." Well, they were exactly the same people who were saying, "Oh, they'll never do that about the confiscating property a year ago, 13 months ago," and now they have a law that allows them to confiscate property. Now they started talking about taking those relatives of those rats who are out of the country. And it's going to take them a year or so, and then they'll make a law. I don't know exactly what the law will be, but they certainly are on the way. Gary, it's incredibly, incredibly disturbing. Today they convicted an old lady, babushka, 72 years old, to 4.5 years, 2.5 or 4.5 years in prison for spreading the fakes of army, making reposts of someone's messages, or talking about the casualties Russian army has sustained. So if anyone tells me, "Oh, they'll never do that," I'll shove it up down their throats. Jesteri, thank you so much. There will be the end of the madness, and I hope that I do my part of nearing that end. Anonymous, I see it and have chatted with others about Frog on a Pod. Thank you so much. Alaska Cap, greetings and massive respect from Alaska. Thank you so much. Fantastic to see you back. YouTube shows me that this is the 10th message from you in Super Chat. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And Molon Labe, indeed. Marcus Erickson. Konstantin, have you voted for Putin anytime? Marcus, I am looking straight into your eyes, and I'm telling you that I have never voted for Putin once in my life. I have voted for other candidates, but I have not voted enough. Gregory Stevens, that's why Putin went to North Korea to get pointers. I'm not sure what pointers are. Lorraine Prasnowski, thank you so much. No message, but your message is heard and much appreciated. And you're also much appreciated as inside Russia's longest longest member, along with Susan M. Longest sponsor. No, is it sponsor? Yes, sponsor. Michael Travis, will Russia introduce new Russia-made vans called Black Marias? I'm not sure I follow you. Jay Harlock, howdy howdy. I don't want to reveal too much, but thank you. It's a very good question, and that's one of the few things that concern me very much now. No. The answer is no. And I think you know what I mean. They will not come, but there are other ways. Black Cat, we want to know how the Commander-Chief Mama is doing. Thank you so much, friend. She's doing well. I just got off the phone with her before starting the stream. I hope that you will have a pleasure of seeing her on the live stream chat soon. She's doing well. Thank you. I will say personally hello from you tomorrow when I speak to her. It's already too late in Russia to call today. Crusader Damien, thank you with the best questions. Russia is a country that has traditionally confiscated land, people, wealth, and culture. Why would they think that this would be different this time? Well, I thought so. I thought it would be different this time. Jay Harlock, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. Crusader Damien, I'll come back to your question. Of course, it's always. How do you have like a, I don't know, encyclopedia of questions? And the underdog, good to see you and fantastic. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it very much. The message is heard, and much appreciated. Crusader Damien, How do I answer? When you live in Russia, perhaps in any country, I could be wrong, but I think it's for all of us all the same. And you are taught certain things, and you have experiences, you experience certain things, but you don't see the big picture. Okay? And what you're saying is the big picture. Russia has traditionally confiscated land, people, wealth, and culture. See, I didn't know that until recently. I was a straight A student in school. I loved history. I researched so much, learned so much about ancient Rome. I simply like history, but I didn't know that about Russia. I seriously started learning Russia's history just now. And I have many supporters. We have two professors, one professor of history from Moscow State University who, just like me, fled. Another professor is from another very good school, and he's a philosopher, professor of philosophy. And they come and they're like my assistants. Okay, I have conversations with them. I tell them my knowledge. They correct me. They teach me more. I organize lectures with them as speakers, and I slowly learn about Russia's history. What you have known, I haven't. And I'm like 35 years old, or 30 something year old, and I sit there and it never happened. Russia, it's just absurd to think when Russia confiscated land, people, wealth, and culture. For example, it's year 2010 and things are well, and there's no totalitarian state. And you think, they'll never do that. Things will never get there. So that's why I thought that this would be different. Not this time, but ever. Russia would never get there. But that's in the past. Now I am a different opinion. Now I lean towards your opinion. Jodes Rames, thank you so much for sponsoring 5 people. I remind everyone, we organize private live streams for sponsors and patrons of Inside Russia. If you're a sponsor or patron, please come back on Saturday at the usual time, around noon Eastern Standard Time, I believe, or 1 p.m. But anyway, watch the announcements. And it's a much more relaxed stream, much slow paced, and we talk on different things, personal things. My best stream of the week, usually any week, is Saturday stream. So please come back, and thank you to James Rhodes for making 5 people sponsors so they can join us on Saturday live stream chats. Shiva, howdy, thank you. I just heard that Lukashenko. Is this a joke? My friend. Where'd you hear it from? It's all about the source, Lukashenko fled Belarus. Where? Where would he fled? Where would he flee? Backed by the U.S. This is not April 1st, Just to make sure, I'm looking at the latest, and no, I'm not seeing anything. So you're pulling my leg. Thanks. It was funny. Well, what's true is that Lukashenko was meeting Putin. He was visiting Russia. He was meeting Putin, and they attended a hockey game, things like that. Then Lukashenko offered Vladimir Putin to visit Antarctica together, to take a trip. And if they really do that, I would say, please, Lukashenko, stay for as long as possible away from your country. And Putin, you can stay there forever if you want, Antarctica is a fantastic place. It's beautiful, nice. So please, stay there forever. Just move there. Enjoy life there, That's as far as much as I heard about Lukashenko fleeing his country. That's funny. They can't do that. One big Mercedes. Um, Jaya, I heard the same thing. If you mean the topic of the stream, please let me know where you heard it from, because I have not heard it from anyone else. What? The choice of watch the stream and one from Aussie asking for money to buy a flat in Moscow. I think I know who you mean. He wants to buy a flat in Moscow. Huh? Well, I'm not asking for any money. If someone sends a super chat or buys me a coffee, much appreciated, but definitely not necessary, folks. I never ask for money. You know, I accept it with gratitude, but definitely never ask for it. Ron Mullard, I saw the same video. Folks, please explain what video. What the same video? The Highwayman, howdy. The guy you liked in the Finnish presidential election, Stubb. Alexander Stubb is through to the second round. Well, he seems like a very nice, very educated, very quiet, very logical fellow. Jaya, I think it was Warthog. What exactly was that? What the message? Andreas Benz, spot on. That's exactly what he can do. He can play with penguins all he wants. Wolfie, built-in swimming pool. I don't know what to say. Christian Nakamura, honest question. Wouldn't Putin be arrested if he went to Antarctica because US has military power to arrest him if he were to go to Antarctica? I think that US would not arrest him because there is no reason for the USA to arrest Vladimir Putin. There is a warrant for his arrest from Hague, from the International Court of War Crimes. Okay, but I'm not sure how they arrest. I think that if there's Vienna Accords or Vienna International Agreement and about the international court, and if a country joins that, then if a criminal lands on country's soil, then the country is obliged to arrest him and send him to Hague. When Antarctica is not a country, I don't see that anyone he can arrest Putin there. If the USA would move onto Putin, that would be considered as a war, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Banned. Luka will go to North Korea or maybe Iran. He would never go to Iran. Never. Never. Oh my gosh. Iran is the country to stay away from. Iranians are so sly. You know what they're gonna do to him? they will not arrest him, but they'll place him into a castle and say, hey, dear friend, our dearest friend, our fantastic brother, this is the palace for you to live, to castle. Please bring all your riches. It's safe here. And he probably would take everything he owns, dollars, gold, diamonds, things like that, and he would place it there in a safe. And the Iranians would say, it's safe here. And then the next thing they would do, they would call the American president, or, I would get G7 together saying, we have a present for you. We can do something for you. The question is, what can you do to us, for us? And, America would say, oh, we'll do anything. Just give us the guy. Probably. And the deal would be made. And the next thing Lukashenko will know, he'll be given very friendly security guards to protect him from dangers in Iran, But then the next thing he would know, he'd be by those security guards and put on the plane, a sack over his head. It's on the plane, straight to Hague or I don't know, the USA. So he knows that he would never do that. North Korea, there's also a good possibility of that. The problem is they have nowhere to run, folks. They know that anywhere they go, they're not safe. Not safe, because they'll be used as leverage in negotiating with the Americans, with the Europeans. Guaranteed. So they have no place to run whatsoever. VJ John, you seem to have a cold brewing on. Yes, kind of. Crusader Damien, I read that vodka has been used by the Kremlin since the Tsars to control the masses more easily. The result is mass alcoholism, including politicians. That's a theory, but I don't believe in it. They definitely are making vodka available, that's for sure. But at the end, it's up to person to drink or not to drink. There's a choice. And that's a personal choice. Okay? I made my choice. I don't drink. I know quite a few people in Russia who don't drink. Okay? The government gives it to you as cheap availability, but it doesn't make you drink, if you know what I mean. Okay? So I don't know what to tell you. I don't believe in this theory. I think it's perhaps vaguely true. Perhaps the government thinks that it's easier to control drunks, therefore it keeps the price for vodka low, but it doesn't make people become alcoholics. Sam K, howdy, the legend. YouTube advertising screwing up all the streams. What is it doing? Please tell me. SYKO, thank you so much. Thank you, but no thank you. I'm not cut out as a leader, no. Life, that's interesting, thank you. If Alexander Stubb will be elected the next president of Finland, his father, Göran Stubb, was born in Lexholm, right on the shore of Lake Ladoga, east of Viborg. I actually traveled to Lake Ladoga, been there. Interesting. Do you suggest he will try to take it back? I don't think so. Nige, I hope you can buy Mercedes in the future. thank you so much. I don't think that far anymore. Let me tell you this, okay? This is a crazy but comforting thought for me because when I left Russia, I was first days was I don't know. I don't even know how to tell you. It wasn't hard. Hard is not just the right word to describe it. It was like devastating, life ending. Like life was over, and I didn't know what to do next. And it lasted for a few days until the fellow Alex showed up in my life, and with his arrival to Tashkent, I thought, well, perhaps there is a reason for me to be here. Okay, so that was like the step one of getting better. But for a few days, it was really, really hard, and I had this thought, not very well, at least it was comforting. I figured, hey, look, if something happens, I was happy at some point of my life. I owned things. I drove a Mercedes. I enjoyed it very much. I have a family and I have kids, and something happens to me, I've already done that. You know, at least I have my memories of that time. And so now, Nige, answering you, I hope I buy it in the future. Well, I hope so. But you know what? If anything, I have good memories. When Kay moves to Canada, I don't know about that. I'll freeze there. Although I'm pretty sure Michael would be playing hockey like day and night in Canada. Why are you nice? Why you should retire in South Africa? Wow, I love the name. Should we retire in South Africa? The advertisers make the stream go out of synchronization and sometimes restart the stream, but not live. Very strange. VJ John, not a Mercedes, rather a BMW. You know what? I just want to drive. Tell you a secret, folks. Mercedes is a fantastic car. BMW is equally fantastic. Don't hold a grudge against me if you work for Mercedes or for BMW. Both are fantastic cars, and so is, I don't know, Chevy. So is Ford. So is anything but Lada. Lada is not fun to drive, and I've done that. Everything else is fun to drive. It's about driving. It's not about the car. Yes, BMW is really good, but then after a couple weeks driving a new BMW, you kind of like lose this sensation of freshness. Okay, and you just get used to it, and it becomes just a car. So I miss driving. I love driving, and I haven't driven a car in five, close to 20 months now, I think. Uh, my Mercedes was old. I was like 12 years old. 12, 13, I don't even remember. But it was like brand new. I kept it up real well. It looked brand new. It drove brand new. And I remember I just walked away from it. The last ride I took in Russia was when I was going to the airport, I remember I was driving Natasha's truck and she was sitting there. I was driving, and we were in absolute shock. She was crying all the way, which took hour 20 minutes from our apartment to the airport. And feelings I was going through were really hard to explain. I can't recreate them anymore. They're very, very strange. And that's the last time I drove a car, and I walked away from my car. I just looked at it, and that's it. I was gone. It was interesting. No, actually, it wasn't interesting. It was pretty bad. Wolfie, thank you. Driving a Lexus LS 450, a big one. Yeah. How do you get around in Tashkent? Tashkent has amazing taxi cab system. I use an online app. I order a cab and it's here in literally 2 to 3 minutes. By the time I get down to the parking lot, it's already waiting for me. The rides here are extremely cheap. To get around the big city, it's from $1 to $2. The cars are mostly brand new. Tons of electric cars. A lot of Chevy Malibu, Chevy Captiva. It's a little truck, cars like that. And that's how I get around in Tashkent. Taxi cab only. Kostya, don't you drive? Miss Natasha crazy. No, I don't. Folks, Jeffrey S. is one of the best members of Inside Russia, but please don't take his dating advice seriously. Janet Smith, I watched a channel about Canadian family who has moved to Russia as they've had enough of their own country. Let me make it the last question I answer. This is a very good point. This is a very good statement you made. Janet, and everyone, I had a few questions. Look, we had some people moved to Russia and they are saying that everything is fine and all is well and all of that. And I have seen people like that. I have seen people moving from the USA, moving from Australia, moving from Canada, saying, we don't like what's going on in our country. We like it in Russia. And they move and live in Russia. And some of them have YouTube channels. Some of them no YouTube channels, but I just met them in person. And they don't lie. They like Russia. They usually talk about it in relatives. Anyway, in good words. I believe them. I believe that they are sincere in their feelings, at least the ones who I watched. It's just they're just scratching the surface of Russia. In order to understand the country, 1, 2, 3 years is not enough. You really have to receive experiences in the country. I know what I'm talking about because when I moved to the USA, everything seemed so rosy, nice, cozy, so lovely for the first few months. Then, anyway, I think you understand the country, you start understanding it deeply only after year 6, after you live there. After you've lived through experiences like buying a house, owning a house, buying a car, getting into an accident, dealing with cops, dating someone, perhaps falling in love, getting married, getting a job, getting fired, getting hired, starting your own company, trying to sell things in the country. The experiences, bunch of experiences that you get, only then and then you can say that, oh, I like this country. This is so much better than Canada. But they come and they live in their bubble. They probably buy or rent a house. They meet the neighbors, and everyone is nice to them because they're foreigners, because they don't speak much Russian, because they're learning. And everyone wants to help them out. But that's not. It's just tiny bit of Russia that they know. Okay, they go to a store, say, hey, look, they have everything that we have in Canada. It was before the war started, things like that. But just give it 5, 6 years and see what you have to say then. Okay, see what you have to go through, see what kind of experiences you receive, and then speak. And but other than that, I believe that these people have had enough, or whatever they had in Canada. I think Canada is one of the best countries in the world. People are so darn friendly. Crime rates are one of the lowest in the world. This weather is beautiful. The only one huge problem with Canada, and that's called snow. Okay, there's too much snow. It's cold. Other than that, Canada would be paradise. I can't imagine what they have had enough of in Canada, or some people come from Australia, some people. It's just one or two or few families. How many people come to Canada seeking for good life from all over the world? How many people come to the United States? That's quite a difference, huh? All right, thank you, friends. Life. I visited Lake Ladoga. I drove from St. Petersburg for 2 hours. I don't remember which exact places. This I'm not familiar with that region. There was a large factory there, uh, and I went to sell our equipment to the factory. So depressed region, depressed, like broken down houses falling apart, and people are generally poor. I didn't like it. It was cold, and even in the summertime. Uh, okay, folks, thank you so much. I'm wrapping it up. Feeling kind of out of sorts today. Very strange. Feeling like I'm slow. I would like to invite everyone to pray along with me, finish the live stream with prayer, like we usually do. Thank you so much for coming. You're fantastic, you're awesome, and you rock. Please join me in prayer. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for everything that you have given us. Thank you for this life. Thank you for food that you've placed on our tables. Thank you for roofs that you've given over our heads. Thank you for people who we love and who love us, that you've surrounded us with. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful, and raise them in a way that when they grow up, they would become better people than us, and they would make this world a better place, would never engage in any wars, just befriend and love each other. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, please stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Do everything as possible to stop the bloodshed. Reach out and touch the hearts of people responsible and capable of making that decision. Please fill their hearts with love. Bring them to the side of light again, so they would wake up from the lethargic sleep and they would get horrified of what has happened. That they will make decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help every single Ukrainian who has suffered, answer their prayers, and have their dreams come true. Please help my country, Russia. Assemble the army of your strongest angels with sharpest swords led by Saint Michael. Please send it down to this earth like heavenly avalanche to get rid of the demons who have hijacked my country, who we know by names and by faces. Bring Russia to the side of the good and the light. Have angels help good Russians run the country and make it peaceful, loving, loved, respecting, and respected. Please help everyone who is traveling, send them safe travels, who is seeking for asylum of any kind, who is in dire straits, in danger. Please send your angels to help. Help single mothers who are struggling, trying to make ends meet, raising their kids. Please help those in Ukraine who are under threat of Russian attacks right now. God bless everyone who's helping Ukrainians. Please help the addicted, the hungry, the sick, the homeless, the jobless, the depressed, the betrayed, the ones who are hurting, the ones who are in pain, the ones who are not feeling well about themselves and about their lives. Please reach out to every single person and who needs your help, and fill their hearts with love and surround them with warmth, so they feel that they're not alone. They feel that you are with them. They feel that you are supporting them and stand by them. They feel that they have not been abandoned. And by feeling that, they will restart their lives. They will get better, and they will have a chance to lead a happy life. Thank you so much for allowing us to come together and pray here in this community. Thank you for everyone who is praying along with me or simply watching us pray. Please answer everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. Thank you. Dear Lord, I'd like to mention people who need your help. They are a little girl, Sarah, and her family. Please send recovery to Sarah and send strength to her family. Redman Half-Breed, Warren Spees, Jay Spike, Natalia Blaga, Eric Quinn, Tracy, James Marston, Frank Caprio, Frank in Texas, Jim in Houston, Linda, Gaping with Gary, Paula W., Karen's mom Dorothy, Tracy, Tim Mayers, Larry B., Callan's dad, Dominic, Olga, Alexei, Jason Carney, please send recovery, Sandra Dunn, Susie Mailer, please send her strength and recovery, and please have her feel our support of our community and fill her love with love and warmth. Kyle E.'s wife, Rhonda McGillis, Terry Carter, former in-laws and fiancée, Dory, and Larson's daughter Hannah, Electron's family, Deborah, Boggy Berger and his sons, Kurt from Colorado, Morgan L., thank you for the recovery. Please send more recovery. Boss Salmon, Leslie Fleming, daughter Taylor, Wayne fighting for 2 cancers, Scan family's grandson and family members, Dave, Don, Julia Haney, Darla, Lise Dumbrell, George Ruberty, Dave White Lightning, Natasha, Yelena, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Svetlana, Mr. Dean Spooner and his church, Lisa, Randolph, Grace Philosophy, Liz, Karen, Life, Pamela J, David Porter, Meta Spencer, Terry Carter, Joan Lee McMahon, and Alvin and his sister. Dear Lord, please help all the children from Ukraine who have been misplaced, return them to their families and their parents. Thank you so very much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, friends. It's good to see everyone. Again, you rock and you're awesome. You make my day every single day. I hope you liked what I said today. I hope you found it interesting. Please come back tomorrow. There will be another message. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Before I sign off, as usual, I'd like to ask you to say the following. Out loud as you can, along with me. Carthago delenda est.